maybe Jim, Roger? I don't know. Let's get it kicked off. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So before we get started into the actual project, I'll just introduce ourselves real quick. So I'm Michael. That's Navin. And that's Alex. We also have a fourth member. She can be here today. So that's Cecile. Yeah. So for our project, we built an app called Cheroff. And essentially what it does is you can enter in a person's Twitter account. It'll look at the first 20 tweets that they posted most recently. It runs through a sentiment analysis API, and then from there it determines, it looks at the content and the tone of the language used, and it determines whether it's generally positive, generally negative, and from there it will display your result. So basically, as far as our project evolved, we started with when we found sentiment analysis, we thought the concept was really interesting. And from there we thought it would be cool to work it into a social media aspect. So we used it in conjunction with the Twitter API, which initially proved to be kind of challenging. It used some technologies that we weren't familiar with, like OAuth. So it was a bit hard to use at first, so we decided to go with a couple alternatives, just in case. So we thought instead of social media, more like review sites. So Giant Bomb for video game reviews, Rotten Tomatoes for movie reviews, Open Movie Database for movie information. After playing around with those, it didn't really work out the way we wanted it to, so we just scrapped that and went back to our original Twitter plan, and just decided to go through each individual problem, tackle it that way. So for that, we divided all of it between the four of us. So for me, I focused on the UI part, appearance, styling, formatting, using Bootstrap to set up organization, appearance, Google Fonts API for all the text, all that kind of stuff. And then Cecile dug pretty deep into the sentiment analysis and Twitter APIs, and kind of came up with how we were going to integrate those and use them. And then Alex worked on making them interact with each other to produce the kind of outcome that we wanted. And he worked on taking said outcome and actually displaying it on our app. So, Alex.
So yeah, in the beginning, our main goal was for employers to use this. When they're interviewing somebody, they can type in their Twitter handle. Because anybody can fake a positive attitude for an interview, and then the truth comes out. So with the Twitter API, we ran into a few problems throughout it. The first was OAuth. None of us were really familiar with that. Cecile, who's not here right now, did a lot of research on that, and she kind of figured it out for us. I think she had some help from some more experienced people, but she did a really good job with that. And then when we would get all the tweets from the Twitter API and run it through the sentiment analysis, we ran into a lot of problems because the sentiment analysis API couldn't pick up the @ symbols and the hashtags in Twitter and all the URLs and all that stuff. So we had to use regex, which I'll go through right here. So basically what regex did was also a new technology we use. It can take out specific pieces of text. So as you can see up top, we took out @ symbols and hashtags and all the URLs. And it was also URI encoded, which just means the text was coming in with like %20 in between all the words instead of spaces. So it couldn't really read that. So we had to run it through the encoder. And some closing thoughts before we get to the demo. We thought it was going to be way easier than it ended up being. The code we have is flexible. You could do a lot of stuff with the Twitter API. We used Bootstrap to make it responsive, look good on mobile. Twitter was being annoying and we couldn't all update the code, so we had to set up a local server. Holly helped us with that. And then just when working in a group, well-written code is very important. Just saves a lot of time if it's commented well and everybody knows what's going on. And with that,
So my primary job was to take the data that these guys, that him and Cecile mainly pulled, and display it in a readable format for the user. I'll show you guys the website in a minute if it's possible. But yeah, so on the top, we used OAuth to authenticate ourselves to pull Twitter accounts and read the data. I think in November 2015, before that, Twitter used to be pretty easy to like pull data from as an API, but they changed it, they added like a lot more security, so it's not as easy to pull data from it. So it took us a while to figure it out. Like with the other websites we were working with, Giant Bob's a video game reviewer, but they didn't have enough reviews. So it was really hard for us to like actually run through the sentiment analysis and get anything valuable out of the text. So we ultimately, once we figured out a lot, we decided Twitter was the easiest route to go. And like if we had, honestly, if we had a little more time, we would have been able to run it through other sites like Facebook, Reddit. Like, that would have been something we could have incorporated pretty easily now that we have the authentication. And up here where it says Twitter query, that's where we pull the data, and then we just did for libs to format the data in a way that we can present it on the actual website. For instance, up there, that's where we set 20 tweets as a limit. If it has below, if like an account has below 20 tweets, then it would just show the tweets that they had. And then I pushed all the data into just different lists. So we had to join them. We had to join all the tweets into one file, or one object, one giant string, in order to read it in sentiment analysis. And so once we did that, we ran through all the rejects and just go all the way down. And then whenever we returned, that's what we pushed through sentiment analysis, and they returned a score. And I formatted the score in a range from 0 to 100. Originally, whatever sentiment analysis returned, it was just kind of like a scale between -1 and 1. So I reformatted that. Like the lower you were on that scale, the more negative you generally are. And so I just called that a troll rating, like this way 0 to 100. And so the higher you are on the troll rating, the more likely you're. And so yeah, I just appended all the data as well as I could into the tables that we had in the HTML. And yeah, if we could pull up the website. Sorry about this, guys. Being first.
Okay, so here's just a little about it, and then here's where you enter the Twitter handle.
So yeah, we had everyone's favorite politician. As a default, go ahead and run Donald Trump. He has the most entertaining Twitter. And believe it or not, he generally has a very, very positive outlook when it comes to Twitter, like what he says. You don't have to do this every single time, it's just because it's the first time using it on this computer. But yeah, like with all the other websites that we're trying to pull data from, for instance, Rotten Tomatoes, you won't get a key for 2 weeks. So we tried that like about a week ago, and we literally applied to get a key from them to use their API, and they said, okay, we'll get back to you within 2 weeks.
So yeah, this was part of the OAuth problems we were running into also. You have to authenticate it before you can use it.
This excuse profanity I'm very passionate about it.
Caps locks on.
Yeah, man. I do that secretly. I have like 10 different passwords. So let's run Donald Trump. So on the top left, I put the About Me section. So you can just see a little bit about the user, like what they have as their main description. This is the troll rating, so the lower it is, it's on a scale between 0 and 100, so the lower it is, the less likely they're a troll. As you can see, Donald Trump is probably not a troll, but he actually is. That's a good outfit. Yeah, so
Just looks like one.
so we use all the So as you can see, he's like the main reason he's not considered a troll on Twitter is because he says thank you to every city. And that's, I mean, that's really good for him. And like on the left side, we have all. These are all the phrases that are actually being read through the sentiment analysis. So whenever we looked at the 20 tweets, we had to combine all of them in order for the sentiment analysis to actually run. Otherwise, each object would have been too small for us to like get any information. And so this is everything after combining that is actually being valued through the sentiment analysis, and these are all the negative components that he like, displays on Twitter. Go down a little more. And then, yeah, so these are like a list of his last 20 tweets, when he posted them, and the actual content. Go back up to just do Katy Perry. Katy Perry is the most followed person on Twitter. Yeah, so this is how it normally runs. Like, it's pretty quick. And it replaces his information. And so Katy Perry, just go straight down. But Katy Perry, like she uses a lot of emojis, and she's the most followed person on Twitter. So we really wanted to format it to where it would read someone like her. You know, that'd be very useful since she's like so many people follow her on Twitter, and she has such a strong presence. And so, like this, using the redirects and like reading all the information that she displayed was definitely like one of the main goals that we had. And then lastly, go to sad coder 93. I made a fake Twitter account using my work email, so hopefully my boss doesn't see it. Let's see. Yeah, we're still loading. There, see? That's how you can tell this person's an actual troll. The rating is really high. I've only posted 3 tweets. 3 is meaningless. So yeah, I just made this to actually like test it out. It worked pretty well. It has less than 20 tweets. So before it was crashing, if they can't have less than 20 tweets, this one has 3 very depressing tweets. So yeah, it worked pretty well. Rated as a troll. Honestly, it should be 100. I don't know why it's 84.1. But still, like at least it recognizes him as a troll. And yeah, using this code moving forward, we could run it through Reddit accounts. We could run it through Facebook if we wanted to add those components. It took us a while to figure it out, but now it's running pretty smoothly. I personally really like this with the UI and like just seeing how people are rated. And I feel like this would be something that's very useful for employers to use. If there's too much information on someone's Twitter for you to like actually go through read every single thing, this is a quick, convenient way to rate them and like see what the primary aspects like of their Twitter are. So, I guess if we have any time for Q&A.
We don't really, we kind of have to move on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Sorry.